We are waiting for some friends, but we're good to go. There's your record sound. If you have questions or need help while we are on the chat, put in the chat box and we'll get to you. Today is Monday, November 23rd, and it is time for our reading check. We're at our Google Meet first to talk about reading and make a cool connection to social studies with Thanksgiving being this week. And then we're going to go to Google Classroom and do today's activity. And then you're going to head to Lexia. And after Lexia, if you have time, you've got your content choice board with science and social studies. And then you are reading for fun with your time that's left over. So we're going to talk about fluency and comprehension again this week while making a social studies connection. So our learning target has us asking and answering questions about a text. When you head to the Google Classroom, your activity says today's date, Monday the 23rd, reading for nonfiction. So you're going to do a Google form about the first Thanksgiving, and this is nonfiction text. Nonfiction is just the facts. Nonfiction is what is true. Nonfiction we see a lot of in science and social studies. We see that in articles. We see that in dictionaries and reference books and things that give us the facts is nonfiction, things that give us the information. So the author's purpose for nonfiction text is to inform. And the passage you're going to read today when we get started is about the first Thanksgiving, and it's going to be just the facts. It's not going to be a story. It's going to be teaching you about Thanksgiving. We have a brain pop here with Annie and Moby, and they're going to give us some facts about Thanksgiving. This is going to be more nonfiction, informational text. I'm going to start the video. It's about 7-ish minutes long. It's not too bad, though. I'm telling you this because I'm worried about some of your internet. So if you can't see or hear the video, you might need to leave the meet and come back, but remember that this is being recorded for you to see later if you get stuck. So I'm going to hit record or play since we're hitting record, and if you have questions, put them in the chat box and we will take care of you. If you can't see or hear, leave and come back. You got it? Thank you. Well, I guess if you can't hear me, then you can't hear me saying to leave and come back, but we will check on you in the chat box, and we will be here. So, here we go.
Hi, I'm Habib, and today we're showing you
there's talking on this video, which I didn't realize.
Video called
Hopefully there's not a lot of video on this video.
Thanksgiving. To celebrate Thanksgiving, the class is sharing what we're thankful for. I'm thankful for our family, Becca and Tasha, our dog, and soccer. Thanksgiving is a holiday when family and friends celebrate over a feast or a big meal. It's a time to be thankful and appreciate each other. Good question, Moby. To understand why we celebrate Thanksgiving, you first need to know about the Wampanoag, a group of Native people. Who are the Wampanoag? The Wampanoag are made up of different tribes. For thousands of years, they've lived in the area that is now Massachusetts and Rhode Island. When Europeans arrived in the 1500s, the tribes traded with them. Then, the Europeans forced some Wampanoag men into slavery. One of the men was Tisquantum, who was also known as Squanto. You're right, Moby. It was a tough time for the Wampanoag, and things got even tougher. The European explorers brought a disease that the native people couldn't cure. Many Wampanoag got sick, and over half of the population died. Then, in 1620, a ship called the Mayflower arrived on Wampanoag lands. The people on board were from England, and they had left their homes to settle in America. Why did the settlers leave England? In the early 1600s, a group of people in England disagreed with the church and the government. They wanted to leave the country and start their own colony. A colony is a place where people settle far from home. There was already a colony in America called Jamestown, in what is now Virginia, so they headed that way. They sailed on the Mayflower and landed in a place they called Plymouth. It's in the area that is now Massachusetts. Today we call these settlers Pilgrims. Well, they didn't really dress that way, Moby. Over time, people created and shared artwork of the Pilgrims that wasn't really accurate or true. What happened when the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth? The settlers arrived in winter, and many had gotten sick on the voyage. They were cold, tired, and unprepared for the weather. They didn't have enough food, so they stole from a Wampanoag storage pit. I know, Moby, it wasn't right. Massasoit Usamiquin was the sachem of the Wampanoag. A sachem is a leader. The word Massasoit means great sachem or great leader. Massasoit Usamiquin met with John Carver, the governor of Plymouth Colony. They agreed to keep peace and protect and help each other. Squanto, the Wampanoag who was forced into slavery, had made his way back home. He spoke English and taught the Pilgrims how to grow crops. He also showed them around the area. One day, the Wampanoag heard loud noises coming from the Plymouth colony. Massasoit Usamiquin and a large group of men went to see if the settlers needed help. Turns out, they were having a feast to celebrate the harvest. The Wampanoag and the settlers decided to join together, but there wasn't enough food. So the Wampanoag hunted and brought more food so there'd be enough for everyone. The feast lasted 3 days. They ate seafood, squash, berries, nuts, and venison, which is deer meat. There was peace between the Wampanoag and the settlers for a while. Then, more settlers moved onto Wampanoag land and created laws that were not fair to the native people. Eventually, war broke out. In the end, the settlers won and forced the Wampanoag to leave their homes. The native people had to dress, pray, and live like the settlers. Over time, people began a tradition of sharing a big meal in the fall, similar to the one had by the Wampanoag and Pilgrims. In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln made Thanksgiving an official holiday. He hoped it would bring people together in peace during the Civil War.
And yeah, only presidents are allowed to make holidays because they're the boss of the country. Look at it.
It has their own Thanksgiving tradition.
That's me that's pausing it. The video's acting kind of weird, so just stay patient.
Every family has their own Thanksgiving traditions and foods. A lot of families eat turkey and stuffing, mashed potatoes, green beans, and pumpkin pie. But each family is different. Americans come from all over the world, and many families share food from their cultures to celebrate Thanksgiving.
Like because we're Indian, so since me
All right.
parents,
Some of the extra talking is here, so here we go.
Rosie's family is from Guatemala, and they always eat tamales on Thanksgiving. Priscilla is from the Philippines, and their feast includes lumpia, a roll filled with meat and vegetables. No matter what people eat, Thanksgiving is about spending time together. It's also a time to remember our past. Today, the Wampanoag and Native people across the country gather on Thanksgiving to remember their ancestors and the challenges they faced. It's just as important to understand our history as it is to appreciate all the important things in our lives.
All right, so I'm going to pause you there. I don't know why there's talking at the end of that video, so I think it's the way that it was recorded. It's not my friends, but while you're paused real quick, I am I'm putting the video on the Google activity so you can watch it again, and it's not going to have me talking on it. Yep. All right, on your screen is a 3-paragraph fluency passage called The Journey of the Pilgrims. So we're making another Thanksgiving connection. All right, I think we're good now. Save. Mr. Bill's times start at 9 o'clock. Jet Board is up first, and he's going to go take care of that. 9:15 is Angel. Remember, when it's time for you to see Mr. Bill on your Google Meet, you're going to go back to the regular Google page and click on the 9 dots and click on the Meet camera. Join the meeting. And your fluency code is Valone 11. Now, if you don't have if you're not on the fluency list, you can still go into the Google Classroom and come up on the stream and look at the fluency passage, because you should still be practicing your reading all the time. Nikayla, stay focused. So you can practice your fluency. Your fluency is also in the classwork tab for today and tomorrow, November 23rd and 24th. If you scroll down, it's here. Fluency Pilgrims. The passage is here. And then the directions are there. I need Yasmin, Taylor, Azaria, Kaden, and Melanie to stay on the Meet if you're with me. We have one quick thing to check in on. Everybody else, you have a check mark for your Google Meets. You're going to today's Google Classroom activity. Oh, some of you have already done it. Follow those directions quickly, please. Here's your activity. It says complete the Google form about the first Thanksgiving, read the nonfiction text, and then answer the questions. So when I click on this, here's the Brain Pop video again. This one should not have all that extra sound behind it if you need to watch it again. Then it says read the text, use the information to answer the questions. Paragraphs 1 and 2 are on the first slide. Paragraphs 3 and 4 are on the second slide. Then you have questions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. These 2 questions, it says choose the 3 that apply. So that means I can choose more than one answer. And then 9, 10. And then at the end, there's another cute little video for you to watch. Don't forget to press the brown submit button, and then you're good for today. And you are heading over to Lexia. And then you're reading time, and then we'll see you for math. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to stop the recording. If you are in that group that stays with me, make sure you stay on with me. And if you are not, log out and get your work done, and I will see you at 10 o'clock for math.